Can you believe I've never been to a writing conference before? I was so excited to attend LTUE. If you don't know, like I didn't, that stands for Life, the Universe, and Everything. I decided to vlog the experience and my thoughts. I hope you enjoy. It is the week after the conference, and I am still reeling from the experience. There were a ton of classes, and I met a lot of people. And now I'm trying to process it all. I'm going to give you my thoughts from the experience. There was a rule about not filming the classes, so instead I took videos of my notes or asked permission from the instructors to use other content they have produced to show you. At the end, I will attempt to tag where you can find the instructors of the most influential classes I took. Without further ado, let's review Thursday. The day got off to a rough start. Parking was impossible to find, and I missed the first hour. Day jobs funding the dream. I thought it would be a panel on what jobs are best to give you the opportunity to supplement your author career, or the best ones to help you stop working your day job, but that wasn't the case. The panel just talked about the fact that they were working a day job. The audience tried to ask questions like, how do you refill your creative well, or what should you be spending your money on? In both cases, they gave generic answers about doing what's best for you, so unfortunately, I left that panel feeling a little underwhelmed. The second class was much better. It was on understanding redemption arcs, featuring Zuko from Avatar: The Last Airbender. I was a little concerned that I already knew the source material too well. I already have a section in my writing folder about redemption arcs, but I loved this class. I have written down my thoughts on redemption characters in the past, featuring both Zuko and Horace from the Ranger's Apprentice series. However, what I really enjoyed about this class was that the instructor made the actual arc more cohesive and easy for me to understand. I have a binder where I keep all the storylines I have learned, so I can use them when creating the outline for my books. And now I can officially add the redemption arc to it. If you want me to go more in depth as to what the redemption arc is or the storyline section of my author binder, please let me know in the comments below. My next class was Design Basics. This is something I definitely wanted to learn more about. I've been designing my own covers, and I know I can always learn more about it. My biggest takeaway was to understand the 8 elements of graphic design: line, shape, form, texture, color, space, size, and value. I also really liked that he said there was more to cover design than just a good design. It's to accomplish the point of reaching a specific audience. I look forward to implementing these into my designs in the future. By this point, I am absolutely starving. I've already gone through most of my snacks, and I'm still hungry and starting to get a headache. There's just so much to learn, I don't want to stop for lunch. I just got out of the 1 p.m. class, and it was about polishing your author events. Since I have one coming up, I thought it could be helpful. I could tell by the questions the audience asked, though, that everyone else was on the same wavelength as me. The speaker talked about the fact that he was traditionally published, and his publisher scheduled his events for him. With more and more people going the indie route, that didn't really help us to know how to schedule them or what to do when you have an author event. At the end, he did give a bit of an outline that I guess I'll try. We'll see how that goes. The 2 p.m. class was much better. It was called Instagram 101. Again, I was a little worried that it was going to be too basic. I've been on Instagram for a while now, but I really liked the refresher course. There are some newer things that I haven't tried yet, and we passed around a piece of paper for everyone to write down their Instagram handles so we can all go and support each other. It's 4 p.m. and I finally have a break. I'm a little annoyed right now because my head is pounding. This is what happens when I skip lunch. The panel I just got out of was called Artistic Entrepreneurship. The descriptor made me think that it was about branding, marketing, and learning how to expand our sales to include more than just books. But the panel dissolved into a discussion on copyright and trademark and why AI is bad. I'm starting to think that the panels might not be my thing. For now, I'm going to get something to eat and close my eyes for a few minutes. It is now 6 p.m. and I'm jotting down a quick note before my last class begins. I started out in a class about book design basics at 5:30, but decided to slip out. The stuff the presenter was covering was about the inside of the book rather than the cover, which, personally, I would suggest Bethany Atazada's playlist if you want to learn that. As it was, the fourth time the instructor insulted indie authors, I decided I'd rather go to the Fantasy Writers Meetup and make some friends that write in similar genres to mine. I made a couple of friends, and I'm really glad I went to that instead. Here is the conclusion of day 1. It is 9 p.m. My last class of the day was a 2-hour session, but it was by far my favorite. Martial arts for writers. Is it sad that I kind of want to learn Kung Fu now? The instructors were awesome. They went through the basics that writers need to know about fighting before giving us a full demonstration. They even let us take turns punching or kicking the bag. Although I am officially sick from my migraine, I wouldn't have missed this last session for the world. I'll attach here the video that they let us have of the two of them choreographing a fight, and go off to find some ibuprofen, dinner, and my bed. It probably won't surprise you that I was running late again this morning. What can I say? I am not a morning person. I did make it to the 9 a.m. class, just 5 minutes late. I was torn between going to the session for marketing for introverts or the panel on creating covers that cross genres. I decided on the covers one since I'm still planning a few new covers and thought I would get a lot out of it. Later I found out that the marketing one was also really good too, so I'm going to have to check out a blog that my friend wrote down of one of the panelists, and I'll put that in the caption below. It is now 11 a.m. I should probably start reading more of the descriptions instead of just the title of each session. I've struggled with anxiety and perfectionism over the years, so I thought the session about writing despite existential crisis and despair would be a good fit. The tips the presenter had, however, like finding a community, exercising, and different creative outlets with an expected outcome like baking or needlepoint, were all things I've already put into practice and was even telling my friend about the day before. I kinda wish I had gone to the panel on writing romantic subplots. If you attended LTUE and went to that session, feel free to let me know what it was about in the comments. It's 12 p.m. and I have never seen people rush out of a room faster. Once again, I did not pick the right class. This one was on Book Talk and BookTube. Since I'm still trying to build my YouTube channel, I thought it would be the perfect class. The guy that was doing the presentation, however, does not have a successful channel on YouTube and doesn't have TikTok. He also said he doesn't care to make his channel better. So I have no idea why he was chosen to lead this session. Seriously, I suggest watching Bethany Atazada or Mandy Lynn if you want to learn about having an author channel as an author. Actually, there's one more person about starting a YouTube channel. I can't remember her name right now, but I will link her in the bio. And I suggest watching her if you were at that session and wanted to learn how to start a YouTube channel. I'm now heading to lunch with a friend I've made, Erin. I'm not making the same mistake twice. Luckily, I found out that she went to some of the classes I didn't go to, and I'm going to ask for her notes. It's 2 p.m. and I'm in the middle of another 2-hour class. And this one is on swords, spears, and axes. Oh my! Medieval Weapons 101. Can you believe they actually let us hold the weapons? I got a ton of ideas for Zoran to use and make different weapons in the More Than Conqueror series. I was allowed to take video clips of the weapons that the instructor said that I could take, and I will put them here. My only criticism for this class was that it was like a fire hose of information. He tried to tell the entire history of medieval weapons in 2 hours, and I don't think I'll be able to remember any of it. Especially since I was distracted by being able to hold each and every weapon he brought as an example and passed around the room. If I really want to learn more about these weapons, I'm probably going to have to take an entire course, do a really deep dive on YouTube. But it was cool to hold all of those swords. As much as I want to learn as much as I can while I'm here, I need to listen to some advice I just got. It's 3 p.m. and I'm taking a bit of a break to rest and recover. Someone let me know that I'm allowed to leave a class if I don't think it's the right fit for me. LTUE wants us to get as much out of this experience as possible, and if we're not enjoying it, go ahead and find a different session or take a break. I've seen others leave, and I didn't want to be rude, but I've decided I'm going to start putting this into practice. I only have so many hours here, and I don't want to waste time on a class that I'm not enjoying. It is now 6 p.m., and this has been one of my favorite courses thus far. It was called How to Infuse Emotion into Every Part of Your Writing. I highly encourage you to go to Liesl Hill's podcast, which I will link in the comments, and listen to it. She said the majority of her lecture from this session are from the episodes in her podcast. I personally found her discussion of a soul story versus a six-figure story so much more applicable than the more popular seven-figure fiction concept. In the book Seven Figure Fiction, the author says that every scene should have a universal fantasy, which, though she says it's not tropes, when you read the book you realize they are tropes. But Miss Hill has a different way to make every scene impactful, which is to make sure that each scene has an emotional impact. I can't wait to study the 10 universal plot points and listen to her podcast to learn even more. I'll even put a little clip of one of her episodes right now.
The aha moment is the solution to the character's dilemma. Most often it comes from something they already possess, have within them, or have already done, but probably don't realize it. So again, Frodo has kind of two things he's grappling with. The solution to whether or not he's up to taking the ring to Mordor comes in the form of a memory of something Gandalf said to him. In the cave, he said, all you have to do is to decide what to do with the time that is given to you.
It is 7 p.m., and I ended the day with a session on marketing in layman's terms, which was just a basic view of marketing. I don't feel like I learned a ton. It was just a good reminder of the mentality I should have. Quick update from Future Kate. The classes I take on Saturday actually build on the concepts from this class, so all in all, it was a good session for me to go to. It's 10 a.m. on Saturday, and I love the fact that I am not the only one who runs late in the morning. My friend Amory slipped into the seat next to me just after the panel, Building Your Publishing Team, got started. If it wasn't for her, I probably would have slipped out earlier than I did. The fact of the matter is that I already have my editor. I'll link her below because I love her. I design my own covers at this point, and they couldn't tell us how to find a trustworthy, not to mention not overly expensive, marketing team. In fact, one guy on the panel was absolutely unbearable. I leaned over to Amory at one point and whispered, "Why is he even on this panel?" He described spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on his book because he had the money and might as well spend it to make sure his book was successful, which good for him. But the majority of us starting out are not independently wealthy, so his advice to pay for everything was not helpful at all. He just wanted a chance to brag about his books. I would have preferred if the conversation could have been about how to connect with others starting out that are less expensive or would be willing to trade the services they are good at for the ones I am good at. I decided to slip out and get a Starbucks before the next session. It is now 11 a.m. The class I wanted to take on creating myths was full. So if you went to that one, please send me your notes. Instead, I went to a panel on starting a podcast. At the moment, I use the recording room at my local library to record the voiceover for my blogs, and can still use them if I ever decide to start a podcast. But I did learn a lot from the session. If I were to start a podcast someday, what would you like it to be on? Here's another quick note from Future Kate. There were 3 sessions on this day that went hand in hand, so I'm just going to recap all of them together at the end. It is 1 p.m. I have been really interested in writing a fairy tale retelling, but the In Defense of Disney class was the first time I was able to go to a session about fairy tale retellings this entire time. The presenter covered the origins of The Princess and the Frog and Sleeping Beauty. It was interesting, especially since I have my own thoughts on The Princess and the Frog, but what really captured my attention was the mention of some sort of index for fairy tales. I've never heard of this. Like I mentioned before, I keep a record of the storylines I've learned, so this is something I would definitely like to look into further. My favorite quote from the session was, "What we do as storytellers is we take the stories and elements we like and tell them to our audience. This is what Disney does, and this is what I would like to do in the future. What fairy tale would you like to see me tackle? Let me know in the comments." It's 2 p.m. class, but it's 3 p.m. now. Okay. This session was called Why Readers Get Bored. It was kind of similar to the How to Infuse Emotion lecture, but I think I liked that one better. Just my personal opinion, so that's all I'm going to say about it. 4 p.m., and I've decided that a milkshake was necessary, so Erin and I went for a little stroll. I shall now summarize the sessions from 11 a.m., 3 p.m., and 5 p.m. 11 a.m. was Understanding Amazon, 3 p.m. was What I Wish I Knew Before Quitting My Job, and 5 p.m. was Accounting Adventures for Authors. All of them kind of built on each other. They were all about the business side of being an author. This is something I have struggled with. I have a video about what classes I think you should take in college if you want to be an author. I'll link the video, but in it I talk about the fact that you should take business, marketing, and accounting classes, not just writing classes. I wish I had done that. Now I feel much more prepared to tackle the business side of being an author. The fact of the matter is that you never stop learning. I'm looking forward to going to more conferences in the future so I can continue to learn and grow in my author career. So, in summary, I am so glad I got to go to LTUE. I learned so much and made long-lasting friendships. My advice to anyone who is planning on attending LTUE in the future is read the whole summary of the classes and panels before deciding to go to them. See if there are similar sessions that you can decide between if you have multiple classes you want to attend in 1 hour. If you aren't getting a lot out of the session, switch to your second choice. Be open to making new friends. I loved how many people would just compliment one another and become friends that easily. It's something adults don't normally do. Oh, and pack a lot of snacks. I haven't filled out my review yet, but my suggestions for improvements to them would be have an actual lunch break for us, and maybe some more time scheduled to make connections besides just we write in the same large, generalized genre. I hope I'm able to attend LTUE again in the future, and if you enjoyed this style of vlog, let me know. Thanks for watching. Bye.